Most people choose life partners based on how someone makes them feel during the honeymoon phase, when brain chemistry is doing all the heavy lifting. Then they wonder why the relationship that felt so right becomes so hard once real life kicks in. The truth is, chemistry and compatibility are completely different things, and confusing them destroys more relationships than almost anything else. In this video, I'll break down what compatibility actually means, the 5 dimensions that predict long-term success, and why most people get this completely backwards. Let's start with the brutal truth that changes how you choose partners forever. Here's the thing. Chemistry is what you feel. Compatibility is what you can build. Most people experience intense chemistry, assume that means they're compatible, and then commit to someone they're fundamentally misaligned with. That intense feeling isn't compatibility. It's dopamine, oxytocin, and novelty creating a temporary high that feels like destiny. Real compatibility is much less exciting and far more important. It's whether you can navigate daily life together without constant friction, whether you share values that matter for major life decisions, whether you communicate in ways that work for both of you, whether you want similar things from life at a fundamental level. And here's what's interesting. You can have zero chemistry with someone and be incredibly compatible. You can have explosive chemistry with someone and be completely incompatible. The strongest relationships have both chemistry and compatibility. But if I had to choose one, compatibility wins every time because chemistry fades but compatibility compounds. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I dated someone where the chemistry was off the charts. I'm talking about the kind of chemistry where you can't keep your hands off each other, where every conversation feels electric, where the attraction is almost overwhelming. It felt like we were meant to be together. Then we moved in together. That's when reality hit. She was spontaneous, I was a planner. She spent money on experiences, I saved for security. She needed constant social interaction. I needed alone time to recharge. We loved each other deeply, but daily life was constant negotiation and compromise that slowly wore us down. The chemistry was still there, but the incompatibilities made everything harder than it needed to be. After a year, we ended it, still caring about each other but recognizing that love wasn't enough to bridge fundamental misalignment. That's when I learned the difference between chemistry and compatibility. And that's when I started choosing differently. So what is compatibility actually? I like to break it down into 5 core dimensions. Get these right, and you can build something that lasts decades. Get even one seriously wrong, and you'll struggle constantly. Dimension 1. Lifestyle compatibility. This is about the practical, day-to-day stuff that sounds boring, but matters enormously. How you spend money, how much you work, how you balance career and personal life, how much social interaction you need, how you handle household responsibilities, how you spend free time. I'll give you an example. If one person is a morning person who wakes up at 5 a.m. energized and ready to tackle the day, and the other person is a night owl who comes alive at 10 p.m. and hates mornings, that's a lifestyle incompatibility that will create friction daily, not insurmountable, but constant. Or if one person spends frivolously and the other is a saver, that's a compatibility issue that will poison every financial decision you make together. Most people ignore lifestyle compatibility because it seems less important than emotional connection. That's backwards. Emotional connection without lifestyle compatibility becomes exhausting. Dimension 2. Values compatibility. This is about what you believe matters in life. Not religious beliefs necessarily, though that can be part of it. I'm talking about core values like how you define success, what role family plays in your life, how you approach personal growth, what level of ambition drives you, how you balance work and relationships, what you believe about loyalty and commitment. Here's why values matter so much. When you face major life decisions, you fall back on values. Do we move cities for a career opportunity? Do we have kids? And if so, how many? How do we spend our limited time and energy? How do we handle conflict with extended family? If your values align, these decisions are navigable. If your values conflict, every major decision becomes a battle where someone has to compromise their core beliefs. I'll give you a real example. I know a couple where one person values career achievement and status highly, while the other person values work-life balance and family time above all else. Every career opportunity became a fight. He wanted to work 70-hour weeks to climb the ladder. She wanted him home for dinner and weekends. Both were right according to their values, but their values were incompatible. That created resentment on both sides. He felt she was holding him back. She felt abandoned. No amount of love fixed that fundamental misalignment. Dimension 3, communication compatibility. This is how you process emotions, handle conflict, and express needs. Some people are verbal processors who need to talk through everything. Others are internal processors who need time alone to think before discussing. Some people want to resolve conflict immediately. Others need space to cool down first. Some people are direct and blunt. Others are indirect and subtle. None of these styles are wrong, but if your styles clash without compromise, communication becomes a source of constant frustration instead of connection. Here's what I mean. Let's say you're someone who processes stress by talking through it immediately. You come home from a hard day and want to vent to your partner, but your partner processes stress by going quiet and needing alone time. You interpret their withdrawal as lack of care. They interpret your need to talk as pressure. Both people feel unsupported despite both trying to cope in their natural way. That's communication incompatibility creating unnecessary hurt. The fix isn't changing your natural style completely. It's finding someone whose style complements yours or being willing to adapt enough that both people feel heard. Dimension 4, growth trajectory compatibility. This is about where you're headed in life and at what pace. Are you both committed to growth, or is one person growth-focused while the other is content? Do you both want to keep learning, improving, challenging yourselves? Or does one person want stability while the other craves constant change? Neither approach is wrong, but if one person is pushing forward constantly while the other wants to coast, that creates a gap that widens over time. I've seen this destroy marriages. One partner starts a business, goes back to school, commits to fitness transformation, whatever. They're growing rapidly. The other partner is content with where they are. Over time, they become different people heading in different directions. The growth-focused partner feels held back. The stability-focused partner feels abandoned. Again, no villain. Just incompatibility in growth trajectory. Dimension 5. Emotional needs compatibility. This is about what you need from a relationship emotionally and whether your partner can provide it without resentment. Some people need a lot of verbal affirmation. Others need physical touch. Some need quality time. Others need acts of service. If your core emotional needs don't match what your partner naturally provides, you'll both feel like you're failing constantly. Let me give you a specific example. Let's say your primary emotional need is words of affirmation. You need to hear, "I love you," "I appreciate you," "You did great." But your partner's primary need is quality time, and they show love through spending time together. They assume that by being present, you feel loved. You assume that without hearing it verbalized, they don't care. Both people are showing love in their own language, but neither feels loved because the languages don't match. This is fixable if both people learn each other's language, but it requires awareness and effort. Without that, you have two people who love each other, but both feel unloved. That's the tragedy of emotional needs incompatibility. Brother, here's what I need you to understand. You can fall in love with someone who's incompatible with you. Love doesn't equal compatibility. Love doesn't equal compatibility. Love is about how someone makes you feel. Compatibility is about whether you can build a functional life together. You need both. So here's how to assess compatibility before you commit. 1. Have the hard conversations early. Talk about money. How do you each handle finances? Talk about life goals. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Talk about family. How much involvement do you want with extended family? Talk about conflict. How do you each handle disagreements? Talk about growth. Are you both committed to improving, or is one of you content with status quo? Most people avoid these conversations because they're afraid of creating conflict or seeming too serious too soon. That fear leads them into relationships where they discover major incompatibilities after commitment when extraction is much harder. 2. Observe behavior over time, not just during honeymoon phase. Anyone can be adaptable and accommodating when everything is new and exciting. Watch how they handle stress. Watch how they treat service workers. Watch how they manage their money. Watch how they maintain friendships. Watch how they communicate when they're tired or frustrated. That's who they actually are. That's who you'd be partnering with. 3. Pay attention to friction points. Every relationship has some friction. That's normal. But chronic friction around the same issues is a red flag. If you're constantly fighting about money, that's values or lifestyle incompatibility. If you're constantly feeling misunderstood, that's communication incompatibility. If one person constantly feels held back, that's growth trajectory incompatibility. Don't ignore patterns hoping they'll improve after commitment. They won't. They'll intensify under the pressure of real life. 4. Be honest about deal breakers. Everyone has non-negotiables, things they absolutely need or absolutely can't tolerate in a relationship. Identify yours, communicate them clearly, and respect theirs. If there's misalignment on deal breakers, no amount of chemistry or love will make it work long term. Better to discover that before commitment than after marriage or kids. Now here's the hard truth. Sometimes you meet someone where chemistry is incredible but compatibility is lacking. And sometimes you meet someone where compatibility is solid, but chemistry is missing. The temptation in the first scenario is to commit anyway hoping compatibility will develop. It usually doesn't. Core incompatibilities don't resolve with time. They just become more obvious and more frustrating. The temptation in the second scenario is to dismiss them thinking chemistry is required. But chemistry can actually develop over time when compatibility is strong. Shared experiences, deep understanding, and aligned values create a different kind of attraction that's often more stable than chemistry, based on novelty and dopamine. The ideal is finding both. Someone you're attracted to and compatible with. But if I had to rank them, compatibility predicts long-term relationship success far better than chemistry. Because chemistry gets you through the first 6 to 18 months. Compatibility gets you through the next several decades. Let me give you the framework I use now when evaluating relationship potential. First, does baseline attraction exist? I'm not talking about explosive chemistry, just genuine attraction. If yes, continue. If no, probably not a romantic match. Second, are we lifestyle compatible? Can we handle daily life together without constant friction? Do our natural rhythms work together or against each other? Third, are our values aligned on the things that matter? We don't have to agree on everything, but we need alignment on major life decisions. Fourth, can we communicate effectively? Can we handle conflict without destroying each other? Can we express needs and feel heard? Fifth, are we heading in similar directions? Are we both growing or both content? Are we moving at compatible paces? And sixth, can we meet each other's emotional needs without resentment? Do we speak compatible love languages or are we willing to learn? If the answer is yes to most of these, that's someone worth investing in. If the answer is no to multiple dimensions, no amount of chemistry makes up for it long term. Because in the end, compatibility isn't about being identical. It's about being aligned in the ways that matter for building life together. You don't need to like all the same things. You do need to want similar things from life. You don't need to have the same personality. You do need to communicate in ways that work for both of you. You don't need to agree on everything. You do need to share values that guide major decisions. That's compatibility. And choosing based on compatibility instead of chemistry alone is what separates relationships that last from relationships that burn bright and crash hard. This was the Dark Needle. Stay sharp.